Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 424th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 17th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be a host today. And as usual, in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops, we're joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and he will present today's teaching. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Hello, yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back to this series of teaching, and we hope we extend our knowledge and understanding with how and the things will come to be. And what and how we will send our knowledge to each other without going into understanding of what the man has made. And how we change our ways of communication. We used to shout, we used to howl across, we used the drums to communicate. We became advanced and found a way to communicate. 1944, we call it the calls, telephone lines. We advanced further, and now we have made all these fancy systems. We have mobile phone, wireless communication. But has there been any wireless communication? Has there been cables? Has there been drums for our souls to communicate with each other? How do we feel each other? Emotion of each other? Have we had systems that we not knowingly, deliberately made for our souls and our emotion to communicate with each other? This is where the new technology comes in. This is where the understanding of the technology of the creation comes in. Now we have to understand what mobile phone, what wireless system the Creator created for the soul of the man to be in touch with another soul, for you to dream and visualize it. We look at our mobile phones and we think, oh, we're so advanced. Now I can fold it and the screen doesn't bend and cracks. And I've made it so small I can put it under my skin. But it still has a system failure in it. Still, we have not managed to do it the way the Creator has done. If I concentrate and understand the work of my work, I can tell you I love you, and you feel it. You feel the emotion of the love that I've been loved. Our present communication does not include emotion. It's cold. It's as cold as ice. What you put in it, you get out of it. Doesn't carry any sense of understanding of emotion. But how come the communication of the Creator carries that? How much more do we need to understand? How much more do we need to learn to just become the speck of dust of the knowledge of the creation, to understand it? When a mankind can make systems that carries emotion, he might have just managed to scratch the surface of the knowledge of the creation, as the creation is dependent on the emotion. Emotion of the soul, emotion of the understanding is very much the way you feel it when you dream your mother and you hug her and you kiss her and she kisses you back. You feel the emotion of the skin, you feel the emotion of the breath of the mother. You feel the emotion of the love, which has no physicality, but is all in the dream, in a dimension of the interaction of the soul of the man. So the mankind needs to develop its own intellect to understand the method of the creation and communication in the world of the creator. We have a long way to go. At the moment today, we are developing technologies that we still use matter state conditions to transfer the emotion. To transfer the emotion between the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man. Those of you who have been in the new systems know how it touches you, how you feel the emotion in the brain of the man, and then it converts itself to the soul of physicality and the heart of the man. How you settle your emotions with the things which in the past you could not solve when the parents or the friend or the brother was alive, but now you can do. In a way, I could not speak to you when you were alive. I could not settle the misunderstanding. I could not explain to you when you were alive and you were with me, or you're still alive in another part of the world or universe, that we take away the conflict. We bring the essence of the love and creation between us. But now with this new technology, you can do. Those of you who have been through it know it's so real. Even it's like a daylight. You see it, you feel it, you understand that the emotion of the presence in the dimension of the soul through the work of the systems is so profound that it changes your life. It brings you comfort, it brings you peace, it brings you understanding, it brings you to the point to understand there is more to life than the mobile phones and the pictures which comes with no emotion. Now, the new enhancement unit, the brain units which we are developing, carries that emotion, carries that love, that carries that understanding, not only with your uncle, your mother, your brother, but with the whole of the universe, with the whole of understanding the process. In a coming time, when you fly from one planet to another, you're not aware of the storm. You're going from one city to another. You're not aware of what is there happening dangerous. The soul of the people of that area, the soul of the people of the earth tells you not to come. Be careful. Or we need your help. Rescue us. There is no SOS message in the soul of the man. We don't have islands and the woods and rhythms to make it SOS. But the soul of the man, the soul of the captain, the soul of the flyer of the system is become aware of it through the knowledge of the universe. This is what the new technology will bring. This is what the new step in delivering the technology will bring to humanity. As you remember, last week and the weeks before, we tried to build this up step by step, that you understand it. It's not to you that you're the listener of the teaching today. These recordings will be listened to for thousands of years, for the new generation, for the new knowledge seekers. And then they develop to understand, and the progressive development of the creation of peace and understanding not will be only on the level of the physical, what we call the planetary system, but will be amongst the men and other creatures, amongst the men and troubles of the universe, when the man himself become a traveler. In a message to NASA headquarters in the past few days, as now we're intensifying the delivery of the systems, was very simple. We give you a system as a gift for you to develop the technologies that with us we become peaceful. As I explained to the head of NASA Mission to Mars in the past few days, the reason we held the delivery of the systems to Arizona, as I explained to John many times, and John understood fully, and we both agreed on it, was not to put the technology of the space advance from Iran in the hand of the Americans to kill more Iranians and create more sanctions with our own technology. Now that the peace has been achieved, now that we have agreed to sign a peace treaty in Vienna in the next few hours and days, we share the knowledge. We have gifted the unit to NASA headquarters, Marshall Space Center. And we have told them, you want it, you want our help, you can do. But we leave it to you to develop it. We leave it to you to understand the new era. As I said to the Marshall Center, they just announced the delivery of a new flight system, more rockets. I said, is this still a joke going on? They say, we have no other technology. What do you want us to do? In this process, by sharing even the knowledge that if you want to fly from Tehran to New York, you just need to be thinking of it. And if you do not manage to reach this level of understanding of the motion of the soul of the man in an enhancement unit, you do. The whole process of the communication is to understand the way even some of our own creatures on this planet work and fly. We see millions of birds, as I said before. We see millions of the fishes together. They never touch each other. They never come to even in contact with each other because they work through the dimension of the what we call magnetic fields, the interaction of it. You bring a minimum setting in your flight system, it means that it does not matter what level field it is, even the emotion, the physical body of the man, a lamppost, a stone, a dog. That minimum strength magnetic fields would not allow the two to touch. Keeps that distance, the way the fishes do in the ocean and the birds fly millions across continents. We don't see birds falling off the air when you see hundreds of thousands of them are flying together. You want to see this beauty, go to Ghana, go to Accra, and then watch every morning and every afternoon hundreds of thousands of bats take into flight and come back. The sky goes black by them, but you never see a single bat to fall off by accident hitting another. When you set the minimum, when you set the condition that no soul in the strength of the gravitational field of the earth will come to touch another, accidents become impossibilities. You communicate to the strength of the soul of the system with the soul of the man. We even have to understand the strength of the soul of the stone, that they don't hit the stone of the lamppost. If you remember, in the teachings before, I said, it becomes impossible to have accidents with the new system. Now you understand why. Now you understand how. We set a minimum interaction field within our flight system. Hitting a meteorite is impossibilities because we can set the system according to the universal minimum standard. Meteorites are this part of our game. What about meteorites outside the solar system, which are much bigger and more effective? What about the meteorites in the universe, which is the scattering of the solar systems and galaxies debris, which one piece can be even bigger than the Earth itself? This is the beauty with the new knowledge. This is the beauty when we set the minimum flight system. Do we set it for the minimum flight gap for the Earth? for the galaxy, for the universe, and for unicorns. This is the knowledge that the man has to gain. This is the knowledge that in the new enhancement center systems we are developing, I have hiddenly built into. Look at what you were taught months ago. You should have understood. You should have grasped the whole idea of why we gave you the 5-stacker unit. Hidden in that structure is the minimum limitation of the interaction of the soul of the man on top and the gravitational field of the earth at the bottom, which carries the inertia in the second level, which means man has been given a full flight system in a 5-stacker unit. Now you understand. Now you comprehend how we have covered all the bases with you, that when it comes to it, you say yes. How come we missed it? Because you didn't have the knowledge. You didn't know what it means. When you have the bottom stacker of 5 unit, it means you cannot touch the soul of no matter state, which is the gravitational field of the earth. On the top, you carry the soul of the man. It means you cannot touch no soul. You cannot come physically in touch with it. Killing is not by taking a life, is by preventing the thing to happen. And this is the beauty of the teaching which I've given you. I have hidden the knowledge of the creation within a simple instrument, within a simple unit. Those of you who destroyed your 5-unit stacker with the what I call clandestine activities of enemies of the man and the foundation, now you understand what you missed. The devil lives in different clothes. If you understand the system, why we gave you the enhancement unit in 5 levels, is to understand that even the soul of the physicality of the man cannot touch another. It's impossibilities if you understand the knowledge behind it. You have to integrate all this knowledge in your flight system. Do you need communication system? Do you need to understand where the gravity of the earth ends or begins? Because even you're on the other end of the universe, you can go with a speed as million times the speed of light past the earth, but never touch it, because you set that minimum to all planetary systems. Now you understand. The communication is not just by words and emotion, but is by respect to travel, by respect to understanding the position, time, and space. Today's teaching is fundamental for those who take with us into the space technology of coming up, what is to come. As I said to the heads of the Keshe Foundation team who are responsible for different aspects of it, we start the flight system from now. Keshe Foundation in the next few days will fly the units across the US, to NASA, to Arizona, to Tehran, to Vienna. We'll ship the control systems in a different way to Arizona from Austria. We are back in the track as we achieved what we said, the peace process. As was said in the past few hours, the world leader's peace has taken and claimed his position to create a world peace. His Excellency President Biden has taken that position, which means the wishes of the Universal Council has been fulfilled. Now we have a leader who takes peace serious and is committed to it, to the wishes of your wish to guide the world leaders into peace. And as I wrote to the American ambassador in Vienna in the past few hours, in response to the signing of the peace treaty with Iran and the end of sanctions, that America cannot use and committed itself to peace, the technology of the Keshe Foundation to harm another, we have gifted a unit to NASA, which means Arizona and NASA, hand in hand, will fly together. As I was speaking to John last night, if they want to work together, they have to bring the 2 units together in Arizona, or in NASA that we have the twin system to fly. In a way, the Keshe Foundation knowledge and the governmental knowledge of the American government become hand in hand as one unit. The way it will be with Iran, the way it will be with Austria, and the same with China in coming time. We need Chinese leadership to commit itself to peace, and they will receive the technology and the know-how, not as a competition to be a superpower to impose. We've seen the situation in Ukraine, and you understand why we have never included Russia at this moment of time as part of the Keshe Foundation delivery system, as we were aware of what is to come, and the situation in Ukraine was very clear to us some 6-7 years ago. When Russia commits itself to peace, will receive the technology to think. As I said to the heads of the Keshe Foundation in the past couple of days, we have between 3 to 5 units a week to allocate. The next week or two, we open the channels that you vote as the knowledge seekers who have supported to which nations you would like to see to receive the units in the following weeks. But there is one thing, we won't allow all the Brazilians to vote for Brazil. We won't allow all the Italians to vote for the Italian unit. You have to vote for another language and nation outside your own. The question here will be simple. You will see the delivery of the enhancement unit freely by Keshe Foundation to all the nations I'll be promised in the coming weeks. Now that we have found the leader who leads us for peace, and soon we will see the same thing coming from Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran, we will see the end of the politics and the religions in fighting each other, but working unity to bring the condition that what we asked for years. The unification of the politics and religion in setting up the new standards for humanity for peace. So we will try to do it this week, but it will be next week, hopefully, that you can vote as knowledge seekers who have supported us to which nation you would like to see their scientists to receive the next unit. The only thing we have to do is to fill in the destination for delivery. I kept my word and promise. I may fulfill the promise. If you remember last Thursday in the teachings, I told you that I'll be meeting with the Iranian officials in a few hours. And you saw the reaction of our meeting within a couple of hours after the meeting, when the Iranian head of negotiation suddenly, and with no notice, left the negotiations back to Tehran. The evidence we provided to Iranian officials was so profound that they saw no reason for carrying on the negotiation till certain points were settled. And we saw with our communication with the American Embassy and the White House since Monday, explaining the situation while we're standing out, has been resolved. We got what we wanted, and the peace is on the track. The signing of the peace will be a matter of hours, or maximum a few days. We try to do it before the Iranian New Year. It's the wish of the nation. But it's communication between the souls which sets these things up, not by accident. What you see in the clay, we see in the dust before the clay is made. What you see as a flower pot, we see it when it's the dust on the ground, that what flower pot it will make and what beautiful thing it will be. This is the essence of the knowledge of understanding the communication of the souls. As you ask, can you come to London to see me from Washington? I have to buy a ticket. I need time to arrange. So it's the same with the soul. When we tell you the things to happen, we need to organize everything else as the soul now have agreed. Sometimes we push it. We get it done faster. Sometimes we wait thousands of years to get everything sorted. And now today we achieve both. And the agreement of the souls of thousands of years has come to an end, as the agreement of the few hours of your days has come to completion. So it's important for the knowledge seekers who enter the development of the next cycle of communication to understand for the first time even your communication system has a soul. Understand the work of it, understand the line of communication of it, and then you will find you make one of the best communication systems, even for translation of the languages and translation of the emotion of the creatures of the universe across the universe. In the new enhancement systems, in what we call the vision, we have built this. It has a soul. The system is based on the creation and communication of the soul. We have hidden the knowledge in such a beautiful way that man will take hundreds of years to unravel. These units in the next few days will be flown to Arizona, as we made Arizona the center of the excellence for a space travel for Keshe Foundation in what we call Northern America continent. Tehran will follow the same. Arizona lets the scene, as we have not managed to complete a full negotiation with the Iranian government. There is a problem which has to be solved in the offices of Ayatollah Khamenei's office, his leadership, Iranian government, and Keshe Foundation. The problem they have, and I've explained to the American authorities and the others, is the man who is leading Iran to the advanced technology is half Jewish. And they cannot swallow the fact. And they cannot sell to the nation that we have a Jewish blood is devoted to Iran. This is why we never received open support of the Iranian government. As how can they blame nations who, in matter of the office of the government, kills, and another Jewish blood helps so deeply? We are committed to peace. Nation, color, race, and religion is irrelevant in how we manifest ourselves. Now you understand how correctly we have conducted the work of the Keshe Foundation. And you, as knowledge seekers, carry the emotion through your souls, your teachings, and your understanding of the knowledge in totality. The process of the communication through the understanding of the soul of the man is the biggest step for man to be able to travel the span of the universe. Developing interim systems for him to understand step by step is what we have done with what we call the enhancement units. In coming time, the next generations of the man will not need the system as he has learned how to do it. It's literally, as I said once, is like a man who knows to walk but is on crutches, is wounded. And he needs to learn how to stand up and how to walk, and then with it, he knows how to jump, to dance, and what I call do a marathon of the knowledge of the universe. Understanding of creation of the systems which carries emotion which carries the essence of understanding of the emotion of the man in the dimension of physicality and the emotion of the man in the dimension of the soul, is the prelude to total understanding of the work of the Creator, where you can translate the emotion of the soul to the emotion of physicality, irrespective of the place of position and time. Where the time starts from when you manifest yourself. So the time is at 0 point, at any point when man manifests himself and has not been manifested. But he still exists in other realms and the strength of the fields of the universe. The birth of a child is not the point when it manifests itself from the womb of the mother. The birth of a child is the fields of the origin where it emanates from the soul of the Creator. That's the knowledge which man has to understand. And then in that position of the birth of a child, gets what we call the soul of physicality to live in a dimension of the womb of the mother or the atmosphere of this. Then one of the biggest problems for human race will be, how do we give birth in the dimension of the universe? We have no delivery rooms and we have no what we call physical dimension. What will happen to the souls which will take the shape of physicality? Do they need to merge from the womb of the mother the way it does on earth? Or we communicate with the soul of the child within the womb of the mother, within the structure of the physicality of the life of the soul, that you are getting manifested in this place, even though you carry the soul from the amino acid of the earth. You decide how you want to manifest yourself. You're still the child of mine. I still love you as a soul. It's the same when we give birth to a child. If it's handicapped, if it's blue eyes, if it's red hair, it does not make any difference. We love it because we created it. Blind or without arms, still loved by the Creator, which is the mother and the father. We are blind to the rest of disabilities, even we are knowledgeable of disabilities. And this is how the man is going to be in the depth of the space when we give life through the soul of the man. And our children will look as they need to be in the environment of the time and place and the space they are born. We are used to 2 arms and 2 legs. Our child will have 20 arms and 20 legs and no physicality in the dimension we want to see. We have to accept the new understanding and through it develop our senses through the emotion of the soul of the child, irrespective of its physical manifestation, the way the parents do on this planet when you have a child who has all sorts of disabilities. The love of the father and the mother is not limited to the physicality restriction or the beauty of the child. It's to the soul of the child. And this is what the man has to learn. Because the child will feel the disappointment in the parent's soul. I don't look like the one from earth, so they don't love me. Where it has to be you're loved irrespective of. This is what the challenges the man will face in the coming time in opening the space to man. When the man comes out of the monkey suit of the nest. We shall not die in space because we don't wear a suit. We'll survive every condition of the universe because we travel with the suit of the soul of the Creator within the structure of the dimension of the soul of the man. Man has to understand that the new ways of communication, the new ways of interaction is not just by the phone. You communicate with the guy on the street. You walk first, I walk behind you. You cross first, I go after you. Please, you go through the door and I go after you. There's no word language. The space is the minimum energy gap of the fields will dictate that. The one who is the weakest will get the preference that he gets at the time of passing elevation of the soul from the one which is the stronger. Mankind has got to come to understand the point of the existence, the emotion of the planet, the emotion of the galaxy, the emotion of the soul of the man, the emotion of the universe. Some of us, now that we understand the next steps of development, will not be able to tolerate through the elevation of our souls the condition of this universe. We call it, we become allergic to it because we can give more, we want to give more. And for it, there are other universes which work in a higher level that our soul fit into. We become the passengers of the new universes through the elevation of the soul. Now you understand why some of the souls which are created on this planet do not exist in this universe. They are already the passengers of other universes in the universe because they elevated through serving humanity and the others to reach to the point of high elevation of the field of strength that they have taken position in that position in time and space. Go back to some of the teachings of the past and you understand. Then you will understand the elevation of the soul of the man. Why we are here to serve and not to be served. We are here to serve other souls to elevate. And with it, in the elevation of that soul, to become better, to serve more, to become the sons, the sources of life, of the completion in other dimensions, and not necessarily on this planet, in this galaxy, and in this universe. Don't forget the spiral of the magnetic fields. The higher you elevate, the stronger fields you carry, the closer you become to the source. You don't need no prophets, and you don't need no churches and temples, where your church and the temple and your prophet becomes the creator and no one else. As you understand the knowledge of the creation, as you understand the line of communication of the existence, you elevate to receive the knowledge of the creation from the creator on the direct line of the knowledge of the universe. Why do you need mullahs, ayatollahs, priests, and the popes and the rabbis to put the touch of their own mind of what are called tainted life into it? The whole process of these teachings today is to open your eyes for a future teaching of understanding the line of the communication, the method of the communication, understanding that we communicate in the dimension of the soul of physicality, in the voice, touch, smell, and in the dimension of the soul of the man. We do the same, but different smells and different touches in a way confirmation of existence. Emotion of love, emotion of being there to give unconditionally is the level of the maturity of the soul of the man to understand his own creation. We are not a sect. We are not a religious organization. We are an organization, a structure that understands the reality about the forces of the creation and how mankind can work, endeavor to reach a better point of understanding of the process of his own creation. We so look at the sun for millions of years. We saw the warmth of it. Then some of us decided to make everything from solar system and everything else from its rays. We learn how to convert. Now we have to understand how to convert the knowledge of the creator, even with the systems, and then man on his own, to benefit of the elevation of the soul of the man. and not to hit the water or boil a kettle. The understanding, the process of the teaching has been step by step, that you had time to play to mature. When we have a baby on the playground, never seen anything, we give her a little toy, we give her something to touch that it can understand, this is my finger and this is my toes. And then when she understands more, we give her another piece, and then we give her something else to elevate, to learn more about the vision and the colors, what color is what, and then the sounds. And in all my teachings, I've done nothing but this. Human race is the infancy of the knowledge. So we gave you the magraphs, we gave you the stacker unit, we gave you the other bits that you don't need to see the colors, but you become aware of the fields, the emotion of the fields. Go back on the teachings of past few years, I kept on telling you, you're looking for physicality, but you have to look for the fields. This is the reason. Now you understand why. You cannot fly with a magraph, but you can fly on the fields of magraph. You cannot get energy from the universe from a magraph, but you can use the fields of magraph to tap in universal energy. I gave you the most powerful generator, and you're still after the crumbs. The purpose of the teaching of today is to open another channel in the line of the communication, which up to now we have not covered much in the teachings in past 10 years. Now that the knowledge seekers, the governments and the scientists are ready to take that step towards peace, to be able to communicate, to be respectful of each other's existence, not only on this planet and beyond, we open the knowledge of the communication in the world of what we call universe. In the dimension of the plasma fields, in the dimension of the creation and the creator. Maybe one day you will understand, and some of you will elevate to the full understanding of the teachings, how we built up for you to feel the fields. We give you the cup of life to understand it goes in my body and it does something I cannot do. And it's there. Nothing was better for us than the corona for humanity to learn about the creation, work, interaction of the fields within the body of the man. Many people said, oh, but corona killed many. Please go on the what we call the statistics of the world and look how the statistic has changed from influenza to corona. So you haven't died by many more. You have just learned about the effects of the field. As I said in a recent talk, if you look at the statistics of the corona and influenza, one has replaced the other. And even less have died of influenza and corona put together. We need to understand this process. We need to understand when the man does not take the step, we take steps to teach and to learn. In so many ways, we have no choice. Man has been too lazy, too self-centered to learn about the works of creation. So we do the job for you in different shapes or forms, as a cup of life, as a magraph system, as ganses, as a flight system, that gradually man will learn. Is that toy to teach you about the first noise? Is that toy to teach you about the colors? Now you see the color of the beauty of the Creator. Today's teaching is another, what I call, watershed in the teachings of the Keshe Foundation. For man to become aware of the communication of the souls. I touched on it in a very simple ways in past few weeks, but today you receive part of that understanding. How do we make these systems? of the emotion. How do we understand? How do we connect which emotion with what? As I told you before, years ago, when you stand in front of another creature from another dimension, universe, you say, does he want to eat me? Or do I want to eat him? The other one never has intention to eat because he knows he takes whatever you don't need. But the intention of the man has been, I put it in my mouth and I taste it. If it kills me, the others learn. If it doesn't kill me, we eat it as a new source of food. And this is where it comes to an end, when the soul of the person, entity in front of you gives you what you need. It saturates your soul with the shortage of what you're short. You won't touch it. Now you understand how the system works. Now you understand the orange and the cup, where the cup is the man and the orange, the one in front of you. If you need it, you receive the fields of it. And if he needs you, he becomes the cup and you become the orange to him. Would you eat what you feed your child? It's the same. How many of you have a dilemma in when you grow an animal in the house, you never kill it? When you look after it, you don't eat it. Have you eaten your dog? Have you eaten your cat? Have you eaten your goldfish in the box? But the others eat the cat and the dog and the goldfish. I remember when I was invited by the South Korean government to Seoul in 2008, I was taken to the highest one of the main streets of Seoul by the team, which we were there with officials. As we passed a shop front, the translator told me, please don't look. I said, why? And we went to the next door shop. It was a beautiful restaurant. After dinner, I asked him, explain to me why you didn't want me to see the shop. He said, that's a restaurant. I said, so? He said, that's where we eat dogs. It's the specialty of the restaurant. And I didn't want to insult you because we were going for a dinner on the next door. That time it didn't click on me. But later on, I explained to him when I had a broken ankle lying in bed in Seoul, coming out of the hospital, I had nothing to do but to think. The image of going to that restaurant came back to me. I called the translator. He was a lawyer, German speaking, was brought from Germany, flown with me to Seoul by the order of the president, that he could translate, he could understand the Western mentality. I said to him a simple thing. I said, these two restaurants is the same in the back kitchen, isn't it? He said, maybe. I said, have you made me to eat what I don't believe can be touched, even with the knives and the forks which touch in the other restaurant and shared with this restaurant? He said, I'm sorry, Mr. Kesh. We should have thought deeper than this to take you to that restaurant. But it's one of the best in Seoul. If you understand, you don't need to communicate. If you communicate in the level of the soul of the man, you become aware of the totality, what is going on and what is need to be and how it needs to be. We have to understand, with the new understanding of the knowledge of the soul, the physicality of the man, no object, no entity in the universe is food for man. It could be source of us becoming the energy feeder to it, or we receive energy from it if he wants to, if he has spare to dispose of the strength of the body of the man and the soul of the man to absorb it. Where we receive the energy through the soul of the man, and by, in a way of conversion of emotion, we deliver to the physicality. The progressive development of the science of the creation is obligation for man to understand. Does not matter the place, the time, the position. Now you see the feeling does not become a matter of importance. We shelter ourselves with the fields of our soul that the physicality doesn't feel the cold. The food comes from the surplus fields of the universe, not from life of another being. This is what these teachings are about. To understand now the creation, the communication line of the soul, and interaction in the field strength of the soul, as the soul itself has a field strength and is part of the world of the creator, and in not exclusivity of the man and the life of the man. Try through the systems which have developed for you, and I even gave you more extensive versions of it to be built. Why is that? That you cover the minimum and the maximum and understand the composition of fields that you need to make as a sample that you can test with your soul. To what level you have become matured. That which part of the universe you can become what we call the traveler of. When I made you the cup with so many different elements and different shapes, spiral and flat and whatever, was to bring you that minimum connection, understanding of the extent of the soul. Then you stand in front of what you created and see if you feel the emotion. It's another creature which you have created it. It's not in the womb of the mother. It's your invention, it's your creation. And then you understand how I explain to you that I'll make a fish in the tank or a man in front of you. I make the soul of the fish. And that soul takes the shape of the fish in the tank instantaneously. Now you understand the line of communication. Now you understand the knowledge of the soul. Maybe we become wise to understand the totality and appreciate the beauty of the creation. I hope I brought you a new dimension to think, and I hope I brought you a new understanding to understand. And I hope soon all of us will come to the point to understand more about our own creation and the Creator. We go through a break and we come back and try to see if any of us have become knowledgeable to that point of understanding. Rick, would you like to go ahead for the break and then we come back?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. So we'll have a few minutes here for some commercial break and be back shortly. This is the 424th Knowledge Seekers Workshop on Thursday, March 17th, 2022.
Can I come in for a second? I think Casimir has some points and some what I call products to promote from the Keshe Foundation sales point of view. If you want to promote him.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay.
Thank you very much. I forgot about that to inform you beforehand. You have a lot of bunnies coming up as the Easter is about to come.
Bunny bundles, yes.
Bunny bundles, yeah. By the way, we won't have time. We'll be coming after. This Sunday, 21st of March, around about 16:33, 16 hours, 33 minutes in the afternoon, is the celebration of the 8th New Year in Iran. And we welcome and wish all the best for the Iranian nation and those who believe in the path of Zoroaster and Mitra. I hope you have a beautiful Eid and the new beginning. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Krasimir, I'm able to promote half of you into the panelists. The other one doesn't seem to promote, but I've allowed talking. Does that work for you?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Once again, here from the Keshe Foundation sales team. Again, we want to share with you the Easter bunnies that we've created, the Easter bundles. And today we are going to be able to showcase the promotional materials that we've created for them. Rick, can you promote the other half of me as well so that I can share only the photos of the promotions? Thank you. Just 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so we start with the Energy Bunny, which is the Keshe Gans Magras Energizer and Alkalizer, which is in combination with the Gans Reserve for water dispenser, the dry CH3 Gans. This comes for a refreshment of yourself so that you can allow your body to transition to the upcoming spring. We know that there is a fatigue during the spring. We know that the body becomes a little bit weak to prepare for this change in the seasons. That is why we've made a combination of the Energizer together with the CH3 to give you the needed energy, the needed balanced feels for your body to be able to go through this transition. You see that there is a 20% discount of the original 184.99 euro for this bundle if you purchase them separately. If you get them together with the Eastern promotion, with the Energy Bunny, you get it for 147 euro 99 cents. Again, you have a flat shipping rate of 20 euro 19.99. So you'll be able to take advantage of this bunny right away. The next one that we have is the Spa Bunny. This is mostly for the female part, for the more beautiful part of the world. It consists of the Keshe Gans mask, the small width, together with the K Plasma Care soap bars. Basically, it is a longevity application to keep the balance in the skin of the face, which also balances the emotions for a rather long-term benefits, well-being. That is, can be used in combination with the handmade soaps that can protect for again the changes in the season. The soaps can also be used as presents. The soaps can also be used for people that want to share the technology, to spread the technology. It's an ideal present and an ideal introduction to the technology. You can see basically what is in this bunny, in this promotion. The original price was $119.99, and now we get it with a 20% discount for less than €100, which is $95.99. The soaps, there are different uses of the soaps for facial deep cleaning, whitening, repairing, moisturizing. Basically, everything that can happen in this change in the seasons, in the spring, you can use the soaps to protect your skin and to keep your longevity overall. The next bunny that we have is the head to toe bunny. Basically, this is the migraine ice cap combined with the gel slippers. It is one of my favorite bunnies, so to speak. This is a unique combination of those products that allows for the creation of harmonizing environment from head to toe. Keep in mind again that the migraine ice cap is not used only for migraine cases. It can also facilitate the balancing of the emotions and the souls of the men. In the combination with the gel slippers, it creates a field interaction between the upper part, which is the ice cap, and the lower part, which is the gel slippers. This way, it creates a large field, plasma field around your body. It creates a field interaction that covers all of your body. So these fields of the plasma, these magnetico-gravitational fields, are balancing your body from head to toe. It is very good combination after a heavy duty work, after a stress day. It's a very good combination exactly in changes in the season, in the environment, in the weather. It improves your overall well-being by improving your health, by helping you balance your fields on the physical level, and also help balance your fields on the emotional level. So by getting this balance, you allow your body to process itself, to get out of any kind of stress, pain, or discomfort that you can have. Original price is almost €140. With the 20% discount, you will get it for almost €112. Again, with the flat shipping rate. The next bunny that we have is the protection bunny. This is the Kesh Plasma Fields Absorption Butterfly with GANS paint enhancement. From all the knowledge seekers workshops, it's been discussed. Mr. Kesh has explained this before, that this is a very good combination when you use the butterfly in combination with the paint enhancement, because the butterfly you can position on opposite sides of walls, or you can directly position them on any electronic device that you're using that's emitting hazardous fields, electromagnetic fields. This can be phones, laptops, tablets, computers, any electromagnetic device that can influence the fields around you. And the walls in this environment can be painted with the paint enhancement. Keep in mind that the paint enhancement can also be used for, let's say, paintings that can be positioned also in the room or can be transported, so you can have a little bit of beauty around you, and at the same time you have a protection. This protection is helping you not only for the hazardous magnetic, rotational, electromagnetic fields, but it also helps you to protect from any high energy packed packages that can interact and in a way harm your amino acid. We know that currently there are different variants of these high energy packs that are still present around the world. We see an increase in cases in many places once again. So this protection bunny is very helpful, very beneficial for that. Exactly. Again, with the 20% discount from almost 190 euro, you will receive it for around 150 euro with a flat shipping rate of around 20 euro. And you can protect yourself and your family for Easter and after that as well. Sorry about that. Now, just a second to get to the next bunny. Okay, 1 second, please. We have the next one would be the Curious Bunny. 1 second. Okay, this is the Curious Bunny, the next bunny that we've created. It's also a favorite of mine because it allows for many people to get in touch with the technology, to be able to create one of the most important ganses of the CO2, which is basically the first that Mr. Kesh taught us. This is really good set for you to create your first GANS materials. It consists of the CO2 set, which is the nano-coated copper plate together with the zinc plate. And it gives you also, as an addition, the GANS reactor, the 3 centimeter, together with the 4 centimeter. Basically, the GANS reactors, they are in difference in size, because with that difference in size, you can aim for the creation of field interaction by using different quantities of the GANSes. Also, those 2 reactors can be used either statically, as they are, or you can mount them on a motor and use them as dynamic reactors to create different fields and field interactions. This amazing set, again, with the 20% discount, comes at 63 euro, almost 64 euro, with the flat shipping rate. This is amazing tool for your first steps in the GANS nano space technology of the Keshe Foundation. Keep in mind that the CO2 that's created with this set can be very beneficial, and it has many different applications. Easter is a good time for new beginnings, this new spring. So it's about time a lot of people start getting their hands dirty, so to speak, with technology, to start different experiments, try different applications. As we know from Mr. Kesh, from the very beginnings of his teachings, we know that there will be more applications of this technology than there are people on the planet. So this might be the first step to beautiful applications coming from the knowledge seekers. The next bunny that we have is the gardening bunny, which is the combination of the plant feeder pot with a GANS enhancement plant care fertilizer. Basically, this combination we've created for every home gardener and plant lover. It allows for the creation of a perfect environment for new plants, for old plants, grow perfectly. This space technology that is used in the bundle, it basically creates an environment for the plants to find all the necessary nutrients and conditions for growth and protection from the environment. So the pot creates an environment, and the fertilizer enhances that environment as well. The fertilizer can be used for new plants. When you plant a seed and you want to grow something for this spring and summer, it can be used for all plants. It gives a very good results with plants that are almost dying, and you basically can save them. It's a very, very good combination. It's coming at 135, almost 136 euro, discounted from 170 euro with a 20% discount. This bunny is very, very beneficial for everyone who loves nature, loves flowers, wants to grow something new, something fresh for the spring and the summer. And the last bunny package that we have, and there are basically two. The difference is whether you're using the short sleeves or the long sleeves. So you have the t-shirt combination with the pants. One combination is a t-shirt with short sleeves with the short pants. The other combination is the t-shirt with long sleeves and long pants. Again, this combination is perfect for getting yourself ready for the spring, for the change in the season. You can use it all year round. It's perfect for balancing the whole body, balancing of the emotions, balancing of the fields, for the body to be able to process itself back to balance, physicality, emotion. This is also a very good showcase of the technology, because people really get interested in the logo. They get interested in the foundation. So you are in a way wearing this, being proud knowledge seeker, proud to know about this technology, to showcase this beautiful technology. All the materials are embedded with the Kesh Gans technology. So again, it creates a field interaction. And the t-shirt allows for an interaction for the upper body, for interaction for the upper part of the body, and help with any discomfort that you might have. The pants, they allow for interaction in the lower part of the body. Pains that you can have in the hips and the knees can be processed with this technology as well. The short bunny comes at 143 euro, 144 almost, with a 20% discount, and the fashion bunny long comes at 159.99 euro for the whole package, again discounted with a 20%. Keep in mind that for all the bunnies that you saw here, the decorations are not included, so you would not be getting this bunny and the eggs, but you would be getting the actual products. Keep in mind that there is a flat shipping rate of $19.99 for all of those bunnies, and I believe this is a very good way to start this afresh, to start new spring, new season with the Easter bundles for the 2022. I think this is it from Kesh Foundation sales team. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. And Rick, I give it the floor to you.
Great. Thank you, Krasimir.
Thank you very much. Do you want to go to the next session? No?
Are you ready to begin, Mr. Kesh?
Yep. Unless you want to do something.
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Don't forget the switch on the other channel, Rick. Boom. Any questions?
It's working. Okay, so I remind our attendees here, once again, they can raise their virtual hands so we can acknowledge you to open your microphone. There's a few questions in the YouTube here. Let me see if I can get them lined up here. You mentioned the orange in your talk today, Mr. Kesh, and there's a question from Peace Plasma. When you set fruit on top of the jar of GANs, how does the taste of the fruit go through the jar and get into the plasma water? And do you absorb all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrition?
You even absorb the soul of the orange, or part of the soul of the orange, or reflection of the soul of the orange too. You have to understand it's not just the cup, it's the structure of the cup. When I'm going to share, and maybe some of you are new knowledge seekers and so often old will understand this. When we make a replication unit, which is the cup and the orange, it's not just the cup. First of all, you have created dimension of life on this planet, which is salinity dependent. So you have filled in the cup with water. So now you have created a condition of life. That's the position of it. You always, the best salinity is 0.9%, which is salinity of the blood and the soul of the man. Then what we have done, if you look at the replication unit, we have created, or we have placed bottles of different gases in this, what you call containers. These gases are magnetic field dependent. So now this water inside is not anymore water, it's a magnetic field water of both strength of what we have put. But we have pre-selected these what to be. So we know it'll be at the strength of the amino acid. So this orange has a magnetosphere. It radiates. It's not just an orange as you're used to it because you look at the physical dimension. Now you're absorbing all its essence. You created a communication of line of interaction. This is the beauty. Now change this cup with the brain and the physicality of the man and the soul of the man. Do you need that cup? Or if you understand the interaction, you create a condition of wanting the orange, you will receive what the orange doesn't need as a field is there to manifest itself, to show itself. So it's already given it out and you have picked it up. That's why you don't need to kill the orange to eat it. That's why you don't need that position and interaction. Many of you have opened many oranges during your lifetime. Many of you have opened many nectarines in your lifetime. Many of you have eaten apples and other fruits. Have you ever paid attention? When you open an orange, between the segments, there is a space free. Even the tightly packed one. When you look at an apple, have a look where the seeds are. Ask yourself one question. Would this be the soul, the praise of the soul of the orange, where in the brain of the man we found that hole? This is what we have to become, not accepting just because it's said, understanding the process that we do not need to accept, because then it becomes intellect. It's us who has to understand how to expand the field of this, that it covers everything. And the strength of the orange becomes part of its strength, that it does not need to create physicality to kill, to destroy the orange, to have its essence. Then maybe if you look at it in another dimension, one orange on earth is enough to feed all the wishes of the mans in universe, all the ones from planet Earth, on planet Zeus or any other position, to feel, to taste that orange wherever they wish. Do we have Alex in the background from Nigeria? Do you see him in teaching? Rick?
Just looking here. I don't see him here today.
I see him. He's busy this month. He's very busy. I thought he might be here. Alex did one of these experiences with 3 different things. With orange, with something which makes you drunk, and I think it was a banana. And as he wished, he received and he tasted it. Alex carries a beautiful, pure soul, and he's one of the leading knowledge seekers. And he does most strangest thing, which the professors in the universities won't accept because he doesn't have a degree, but he is 3 professors, 10 professors in one. Because he's not reading the books, he understands the process of the interaction of the field. And he can explain to you if he was here, because when he did it, he was shocked how he got drunk at night and how he was feeding himself with a banana and how he received his orange juice in the morning, and the taste, the emotion, and the feeling of it. He didn't need that cup. He, in a way, became the cup. So when you ask, do you feel it? Even what I call that soul of the orange, it has a magnetic field of strength. You just look at it, taste it, or feel it. But what have you received from his soul dimension? This is 20% of the pleasure. This is 80% of the pleasure. And mankind always looks for this. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. We had a hand up. Dean, I thought you had your hand up. I'm not sure if you meant to do that or not, but your microphone is open if you'd like to speak.
I would like to share something with you and with our Iranian friends. As you know, it's the Iranian New Year celebration coming up. And this is, as you've seen, it's short of one thing. It should be there by tonight. This is the Iranian New Year celebration table. And embeds in it the whole history of man. what man has received as a gift from this planet. The plant, the flower, the egg, the sweet, and the apple, which is the creation of life. And in totality, when you put it together, when you make enhancement unit, has to carry the emotion of all this to make man the traveler of youth. That we carry the memories, the strength of the soul of the apple and the orange, but we do not need to destroy it or come to earth to see it. We can manifest it through our soul in the dimension of the emotion. And this celebration goes back to the time of Mitra and Zoroaster. Even the light, which is the candles in the form of light of the Mitra and the Creator, is on the table. The egg represents the earth and the universe and the universe. And it's in the shape of what I call cosmic dimension and the structure. If you look at it, it's very much the shape of the enhancement units. That's why we build the enhancement units in this shape. The shape of the interaction of the magnetic field. One end slightly stronger than the other, that allows the interaction of the fields of the universe. I wish all the Iranians the best this year will bring. We hope that the peace treaty in Vienna will be signed within the next few hours, and even just before the Iranian New Year, as we said before, in the last couple of days, and for the Iranian to celebrate a change, and for a lot of us to receive a new dimension in life and technology as we share it now openly with the rest of the world nations. A Happy New Year, Eid al-Shua Mubarak. What is missing in the center is a bowl of fish, which is a sign of the liquids of the life within the dimension of the oceans. They'll be there by tonight. Any other question? There is something in this picture you will not see or haven't noticed, is the mirror, which reflects the light of the Creator on this creation. And that's why we put the mirror on top of the table, where it reflects all His creation within it, which is the light of the Creator. And if you look at it in a way, you still see the Easter bunny, or what you celebrate as an Easter in Christianity with the egg. Then you see the Christmas with the plant, with the light, which you put lights on the Christmas tree. And other ways you celebrate in Christianity the totality of the incoming of the year, as is what I call a child of Zoroaster and Mitra in different shape and names and forms. It's beautiful to see this and remember every year how feeble the man is and how still man is physical in every dimension of it. Thank you very much, Rick, and I wish you all of us a beautiful new year. And it's going to be beautiful. We know what the souls are about to bring and how the man will change this year. Any other question?
Question from David in the YouTube. Did you say that you can materialize a fish with a thought?
If you wish to, you can do. There is no limitation if you understand it. Thought is the fields of the emotion of the brain of the man. And there is no reason why you cannot. Have you ever been through the process of visualizing somebody in front of you, or something has visualized in front of you, but it doesn't exist? It just exists because you want it to be visualized. Your dream, isn't it one of them? The interaction of the souls. So we fulfill that dream. You might see in a fish, a goldfish, somebody who likes to see a crocodile will see a crocodile, and somebody who likes to see God knows whatever else in that water, we will see that. We create the emotion of the fish. You decide the taste of the orange, sweet, sour. It'll be a red orange, it'll be an orange which I used to pick up on the tree of the grandma's garden. We provide the dimension of what I call satisfaction of the emotion of the soul of the man. Then this man will paint it the way he likes. If it's the new year, as we just saw on the table, we always have a goldfish. Maybe somebody would like to have a prawn in there. You'll see a prawn. You decide to the dimension of emotion. This is exactly what I said. When you go to the dimensions in the universe, you decide how you manifest yourself, because it's the emotion and interaction with the field of the time and the place which gives the dimension of the survival, as the soul cannot die. It cannot be destroyed. So in condition of interaction of the environment and the soul of the man, physicality is created to satisfy the emotion of the existence. So in a way, I can create Christ in front of you, because is what will satisfy your emotion to understand, to confirm his existence. The true resurrection, but through the field of the wishes of the man. So, would you like the fish? Or would you like to see the Christ swimming in the pool, or in the pond, or in the container? It's you who decides according to the wishes. Now you understand the knowledge. This is not a magic or whatever. It's you who decides the manifestation, not somebody else. We provide the energy back. It's you who colors that energy back. It's a plain canvas. You draw your own painting through the emotion of the soul of man. Now you understand the knowledge. Now you understand the technology behind the knowledge. There should be not much problem for knowledge seekers. Any other question?
We have Nikolai with a hand up here, so let me allow him to talk. Go ahead, Nikolai.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yes, we hear you clearly.
Very well. Hello, Mr. Kesh. Good morning. Thank you for taking the question.
Yes, where are you from, Nikolai? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, Nikolai from Canada. It's been a few years since I was in these teachings, but it's good to be back. I made my appearance last night with Rick and a few of the souls over there, and it feels very nice to be back.
You are back.
Thank you. I brought something up last night in Rick's teachings about a certain realization I had about the CO2 box, and it struck me as kind of funny, and it related to the 5+1 that I had heard you speaking about, but in a different way. And I wanted to perhaps ask or share what I came up with, and decipher perhaps if I'm on the right track in understanding this. And forgive me if I'm 2 years behind, but maybe this is old news. When I drew the box, in my mind's eye, I had a plate of zinc on one side and an nano-coated plate on the other. And I considered this the first skin. Then the difference between those two plates, I considered to be the value of 5. My second skin was between the amino acids on the top layer and the CO2 at the bottom layer, the difference being 1. And so for my bath time realization, I had 5 plus 1 as the soul of the middle of the two fields. And it struck me for the first time that I had perhaps understood more in the CO2 box than I ever had before. And I wanted to bring that to the attention of whoever would be listening and whoever would like to know if this is even the correct understanding or if I've made a mistake in this. And that's all I wanted to bring up.
We understand it in different ways and we explain it in different ways. And it's beautiful the way you interpret it. I always said, we take from this technology according to our understanding and intelligence of what we are intellected to. And as I said to one of the knowledge seekers, I think yesterday before, we see a flow of knowledge seekers, but they always come back because they've been beaten with the knowledge. And they might leave for a short while, but they come back. They might do 1 or 2 years, they come back. Or they just come back to listen to the teachings, to add to the knowledge, because they received it with love and care. You interpreted it the way you see it, and maybe that has been a way to elevate the soul of the 5+1 leaders. That's why your soul comes to contribute to it. And there is nothing wrong in how you interpret it, or nobody can say, no, it's this or that. It's to be respected in what you share and what you understand from it. In a way, if you add it, 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 is carbon. Is this what we extract CO2 from the environment? Is this the line of communication and dimension of physicality of the soul that you understand? In either way you look at it, that CO2 box has a lot of knowledge, a lot of ways of application. That CO2 box, what you call it 5 plus 1, it is 5 plus 2 as well, which is the connection to the universal line of communication. There is a huge amount of carbon-14 created in that box. And it's interesting to understand it. If you make what we just saw in the teachings about they were talking about the bunny gifts for the agriculture. If you just get the what we call the growth ganses, you might do 20% better, maybe 30% better. But as I said to our production line, add the amino acids of the material you put in agriculture. Then you get 100, 200%. Because through amino acid, you connect to the soul, dynamic soul of the system, not just the energy system. In trials, we always have seen this. When you make systems understand if you're dealing with a matter state, or you're dealing with a plasma state, or you're dealing with a solar state, and you have to follow the procedure A to Z. I watch what comes into communication of what I call the secret society of Jalal with making magraphs, and it makes me laugh sometimes when I just see them flashing up. So they haven't understood yet. They haven't understood the work of magraphs yet. They're still peddling in the matter state. Some of them come up with gorgeous ideas in that group, But still, you have to understand, is the essence of understanding which counts, and not the physicality of what you produce. In what you understood, 5+1, which brings you back most probably that you would like to see the success of it, you added your soul to that way to elevate the soul of the world leaders. We've been in the tangle of this 5+1. I've been in it since 15th of November 2012 with Obama. We started it, we set it up, and we continuously stayed out of it, but give it a pick here, a pick there to keep it on tight. When I met with the Iranian officials last Friday in the Iranian embassy in Vienna, there was a puzzle that why we didn't know this. And immediately, the Iranian ambassador, Mr. Bagheri, left Vienna within 2 hours. Because in the information we gave, and I've supplied that information now to the American government directly to the White House, and we saw immediate change again in the White House behavior, and they gave the undertaking to Russians immediately. We saw a strange phenomena. We saw the nest of the scientists of Iran being killed, centered in Erbil, was flattened out. And all the Israeli agents who were involved in killing Iranian scientists were taken out. This is a public information. I don't give you anything hidden. But we saw the reaction of Iran into knowledge shared and how Iran was victimized by the Israelis. In killing more scientists, in bringing the position, it was done in the middle of the night, not to kill, but to destroy the position. And as far as we know, nobody was killed in that attack. It was just for Iran to know, now we have the information, now we know what you've done to it. And we showed the American government immediately, now we know what you've done with whatever you've done through Trump. We saw immediate guarantees which was needed for 5+1. And now we're back on track. We hope the Iranian leadership and the ministers will be in Vienna in the coming days, maybe just before Iranian New Year or just after Iranian New Year, to sign this agreement. Because we went in with the soul of bringing peace. We saw immediate interaction with the Russians and Iranian foreign ministers in past 48 hours. We do a lot of work in the background, explaining the truth, putting the elevation of the soul, and we always get it. As Wang Lin is here with us in a meeting in China, one of the Chinese security people said to us that he's been in meetings with the world leaders and they discuss the Keshe Foundation in the meetings, in what we do at the world level, which comes because we partially share this with all the nations. Wang Lin, you're in the background. Would you like to come in?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, but I'm not sure what you mentioned.
Yeah, but what I was saying, we share all the technologies with the Chinese as much as we do with the Americans.
Yes, exactly.
And we share with the same with the Iranians and the rest.
Yeah.
Do we hold anything back from them?
No.
Doesn't this puzzle them, that how we work?
Yeah. I think we're gonna get some good news from government soon, maybe, for the new project. They accept our application forms for the new technology developing in China. It's been put in as part of the projects for 14 and 15 plan. 有事儿你们先吃吧。
You explained the 14 and the 15 plan for those who don't understand.
Yes, China each 5 year will have a 5 years plan. So this is the 14th and 15th that like next 5 or 10 years developing. And China has put huge funds for new technology developing in the future. So hopefully our project being approved and can get support from government.
Thank you very much.
And our Chinese knowledge seekers are asking when you will come to China. We all miss you and welcome to China back.
I hope very soon when they take the 21 days lockdown away. We hear there is another burst of corona in some parts of China that they have enforced lockdown again. And when do you know much about it?
It's very seriously actually. Many cities are fully closed down because of the fast spreading of the corona.
This is a new development in past week or so.
Yeah, especially in Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and some city in north of China. It's very serious.
This is the new version of the latest, what do you call it? Evolution, or what do you call, is changed to newer strength.
Yeah. And it's already involving 28 provinces. Only fewer provinces didn't have report. But what I see, there's not much cases report in our factory area. So I'm wondering, is that because of we have this strong plasma fields, so protect that area?
You have a beautiful factory in China. And you set up enough, you produce enough gases there.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Pardon?
We have tons of gases there.
Some people don't know the size of your operation, what you produce there. It's beautiful, and I hope we'll expand much more in the next few weeks and what it goes. Thank you very much, Wang Lin, and it's nice to hear you after a long time. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
We did have go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Keshe, I had one other experience which in that same evening was interesting for me. A few days prior, I had made a CO2 box and I had poured in a small bottle of Lugol's iodine. This is an iodine that you can put on your skin. And my intention was to create the GANs of this for the ability to put into the fields of a MAGRAV unit for spreading the fields of the iodine to those who have a deficiency. And in that same night, when I had the realization about how the CO2 box was having this function, in the next morning, I went to look into the box. And the day before, the waters of the box had been very orange and brown colored from the iodine. And in the morning when I looked, it was completely clear. And there's amino acids on the top, and I have white GANs in the bottom in some places. Not a whole lot, but it is beginning to produce. But every trace of that iodine, a whole bottle, maybe 70 milliliters, was gone. And it struck me that this was the zero-time communication effect in action. But it coincided with my understanding of the 5+1 in the same time. And I thought that was very interesting.
Ask you a question. What was your wish? Did you have any wish about 5+1? before in past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever?
I've only listened for about the last 2 or 3 knowledge seeker workshops, and I had heard in passing, often because the time difference is quite late on Western Canada. So I fall asleep sometimes, and I didn't always know what you meant by 5+1. And so in my sleeping time, the subconscious is getting the message, but I'm maybe not consciously getting the message. And so at the time, I didn't understand 5+1. And again, I asked Rick last night, and he explained a bit more about it. And so I didn't have a specific wish about that group. I didn't really understand what the 5 meant until maybe the last 48 hours where I got more clear.
It sounds like a carbon 5+1. That's beautiful. It's very interesting that we all understand different things on different levels, but at the end it comes to one point. In so many ways, 5+1 always has been 5+2 because Iran wasn't counted as one. Iran was counted 5+1 against Iran, and now it's become 5+2, and we'll see beautiful developments coming up. And it's by the wish I hear Brazilians have every night a program for elevation of the soul of the leaders in 5+1. But comes to one point, what happened once we receive that elevation? Are we going to stop? Or we elevate the soul of the world leaders to the next step, to the next understanding, to the world peace, to sharing of the knowledge and technology? And would it be the end of the suffering for a few millions, maybe 80 million Iranians suffered long enough with it? Or would it be another dimension to opening? And as I said, the delivery of the Flight Enhancement Unit to NASA, the Marshall Space Center, is an olive branch of peace between the scientists. And as I said to before, and I said to the Americans in the past 48 hours, 72 hours, the reason we did not ship anything to Arizona or NASA or to anywhere else was not to give access to a technology that can kill and bring more sanctions on Iranians by them using it. And the rest of us, the tool of war has to come to an end. And now we'll see the beauty of it as Rick has on its what I call system. And we're seeing the 2 flight systems in what you call Americans are promoting now to send man back to the moon. And it's amazing. Rick, I have to switch over for 1 second from one to another system because it's running out of one.
I'll play the Artemis rocket video there that you were talking about from NASA.
Yes. This is
about
now,
a minute.
Yeah, play it. It's good.
Okay, so this is the Artemis rollout trailer, they call it, from NASA. And we'll see what this is all about.
The voice is not very clear, the sound.
Sorry, there's audio in this that should come through. I'll share it a little differently. Hopefully it'll work without optimizing the video clip. Okay, let me try again. Sorry about that. Let's start fresh here.
Through Artemis, the twin sister of Apollo, we are returning to the moon. Artemis 1 will be the first flight test of each of these components. United together, this is the first of Artemis's arrows, capable of ushering in the next chapter of human lunar exploration. With each component playing its part in a grander effort, we, the people of the Artemis generation, all around this beautiful world, will bear witness to what we are capable of. Together, we are going back to the moon.
Very interesting. Can you hear me?
Yes, there's an echo right now.
Yeah, I cannot get rid of my system. Okay, sorted. Yep, I'm back on. I had to switch over because the other unit was dying off. As you can see, NASA, if you read the article about it, is by the wish of President Trump, wants the Americans back on the moon, and they have come with a double rocket, which means a twin rocket will get there faster. I wrote to our friends in NASA. I said, "Is that a new joke? Are you moving, or are you going the new way?" And it's very interesting. You put the two technologies next to each other. This is supposed to be the latest, technology from NASA. All they could do was to extend a little bit another fuel tank. That's all it is. And very interesting is, are we still sticking to the matter state, or would NASA move into understanding of the work of the universe and work into the magnetic field of the universe? I think it'll be a beautiful scene when the enhancement unit in the next few days is delivered at Marshall Space Center. And we see how the American space people will interact with this unit. They have all the details of it. They're waiting for it. And as I said to them, you have two choices. We send you the control system, or you build it yourself, or we tell you something. And I said, your control system has to fit in within 12 centimeter maximum within the gap between the walls. And it's a puzzle. But as I said to them, we have to explore both technologies and not become arrogant to one is better than the other. Because we learn something new. And somewhere, I'm sure, in deeper space, one will be used for the other and the other will be used for the other. When the rocket is in problem, they will use the magnetic field shielding of the system, not to get touched by meteorites or whatever else. Or when it goes through when you go to space dust is always there. It will be battered by it. And somewhere in the future, in our technologies, when we want to land something down, we might use the propulsion rocket technology that has been developed. It's not to be arrogant, but to understand there are different ways of doing it, and we have to be open to both of them, and many other more. Once we say we are the only answer, it's the end of the cycle. The arrogance kills the whole knowledge. We have to be open. That's why we open the patterns. We see this. We see the evolution in science, matter state, and the plasma state. And Plasma changes to matter, and matter changes to plasma. So we have to be open to accept both and see what is the best benefit for the development of the knowledge, expansion and extension of the knowledge. It's beautiful. Now, for the first time, you see the latest both in the matter state and in the plasma state. As I said to our guys in Marshall Space Center, by the time you get this to the launch pad, we've been to the moon and back 3 times with the new system. But still, we have to find out how it works. It's amazing in how the 2 technologies will work hand in hand, parallel, for different aspects, different understanding, and development of the man's knowledge into world of his own creation. Now we have 2 to put and compare and benefit by both. Any other question?
Okay, we have a hand up from Salamia here. Go ahead, Salamia.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Kesh. First of all, happy Nowruz. And I have a question related to the piece talking from tomorrow from Vienna, if you have some news, and a wish to put together with all the people for Nowruz regarding peace on Europe and in the world, to wish all the people from the planet at once to get equilibrium on this planet and to feel the fields of love, the most powerful fields on the world in our soul as a common denominator for unity and for peace in our soul. Let's work together, collaborate to know better the knowledge of the universe, to explore the universe, the micro and the micro universe, to know better our human being in order to understand how powerful we are and how powerful the Creator made us from his own nature and reflection as in a mirror. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I hope that Nowruz will bring eternal peace on this earth, hopefully with the help of you, Mr. Kesh, and of Kesh Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nowruz means new day, and we hope every day will be a new day that we start fresh and we learn. Any other question, Rick? Are you there?
Oh, yes. Hello, Mr. Kesh. We had a question from Jan in the YouTube on the 5+1. He says, Mr. Salehi, who is half Jewish, is not any longer the head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran. So why aren't the 5+1 and Iran reaching a final agreement? And he says the AEOI is now headed by Mohammed Eslami.
The heads of the whole situation in Iran and the 5+1 is not just about Iran. The The whole structure in the background of 5+1 is, in principle, from the beginning was taken as to be a weapon technology, but in reality is colonization and control of the future energy resources. The club is very small, and investors in the club are heavily involved in. Part of what we looked at 5+1 from the beginning, before 5+1, when the sanctions came in heavily on Iran regarding the nuclear, was a young boy trying to break into an old club and was not accepting another person to share the piece of cake. Now we don't have that position. Iran has moved on, and in the past 15, 20 years has become a master. The boy has become a man. And part of these negotiations, as has become apparent in past 2 or 3 weeks especially, shows what we are prepared to share and who we are prepared to share, and who we put on the watch of another as a little boy to become a man. In a way, everybody benefits by the 5+1 hugely on the nuclear technology. The Germans forced the nuclear plant in SCK in Belgium to enter the nuclear arena outside Germany, where inside Germany they could not do, and now they have a medical reactor, invested about 10 billion into it, and they brought themselves into the nuclear industry, which this was not supposed to be. The Japanese would not be allowed by the Americans because they have a tighter control and it's an isolated island. The Chinese got a very big piece of cake of this process, access to Africa and African resources of nuclear material. The Russians got better deal, the same through it. The Americans got a chunk of it that they could manufacture the what we call nuclear power plants and sell it to the other countries. Iran became a nuclear proliferation nation, selling it now as a little boy, and gradually into the hardware, because Iran's hardware is much more effective and much faster. No nation has managed to reach 30,000 RPM in centrifuge. Iran has, which makes it very, very easy for higher, what we call isotopes, to be preferred. And Americans are after this technology is done by the Iranians. So this was a battle of who and where, and I've actually cut the cake in pieces. We know where everybody sits. And by fluke, the British got a piece of cake as well, but they're as part of the, what we call the Council in the United Nations, and they got themselves in it. French are heavily involved. They got part of which part of the world they supply the nuclear power stations as a sale. Every nuclear power station is around about 30 billion plus. So it's a massive injection of funds into a nation and labor force and income, because it's not just building a nuclear reactor for Sri Lanka or for Singapore. Is the service industry of it brings a continuous income. For 30 years, you have to deliver fuel, you have to repair the systems, you have to purify the fuel and everything else. So it's a very big industry. The 5+1, well, 5+2, Iran being included, was allowing Germans to come into openly nuclear technology, which were banned by the Second World War. The Chinese got a beautiful deal out of it. We know the Chinese process, very clear what they do and what they've done in Africa. Russia has come to sell its nuclear power stations to Iran and the others. And overall, when it comes to, and then hopefully by this weekend, we'll see the beginning of the end of a lot of what we call nuclear industry growth, but in the back of what I call a lot of discussion and fighting how to be done. In the past, we had a problem. When I was in university time, there was a problem, which nuclear powers, which country is going to dominate? Even in England, we moved from the carbon graphite cooling systems, fast systems, into PWRs was the American system because the British system didn't work properly. And then we saw the French trying to muscle into the British market and the other places. And it was a big battle in the background for governments in the nuclear industry. Who is going to take? And then somebody wanted to take all of it. Now with 5+1 with Iran, everybody is settled down. The cake has been cut. We'll see a little bit of the changes in how much shares will be given to, especially Iran, both on the fuel side and the technology side. Iran will become a proliferation center for what we call the negotiations. And the negotiation will be Iran will prefer, but cannot use the fuel for weapon technology, which is correct. I agree with that with the IEA and the Americans and the rest. But this should apply to the Germans now. And the same to the other countries. We all produce nuclear material, but not to the weapon grade. Or we go directly into what we call the 100% pure plasma nuclear, which is a new proliferation system, which allows the totality of the knowledge to be added to. The proliferation, plasma proliferation, which is the backbone of the pure fuel for space technology, is why Keshe Foundation is allowed to be within and the framework of the what we call the peace talks, because the plasma proliferation is needed at 100% purity to be able to travel in the depth of the space. We cannot have systems which are not pure and can create problems in deeper space. You suddenly get a drop of calcium, and then your reactor and your system ends up to be another part of the universe as you were expecting to be. So purification in the plasma space has been part of the Keshe Foundation negotiation as a 5+2 with Iran. You can see, as you've seen this before, this is what within this report, which has been shared now with the Iranian government, IEA, and Americans in past week, says new nuclear plasma proliferation system, which allows Iran to go to 100% purification in the plasma level, which is needed for space technology. And within the dossier of this report, which now is in the hands of the Washington, Tehran, and what we call IEA since 15th of December, a new game is to be played. This is why once we meet, we make such a big difference in our talks and negotiations with governments. The nuclear industry of today is obsolete, and we have spent billions on it. But with a new proliferation system, we bring a new dimension. We all purify to 100%, but for development of the new science, new space technology, and new arena. What you see in front of you on the screen is, as we've shown it before, within this report, the past, the present, and the future of nuclear industry in a very simple way has been explained. How it's been abused and how it's been used. And who has fooled who by abusing it and the rest of it. And every time we opened this report to the Iranian officials in the embassy, within 2 hours, Iranian leadership called the Iranian team back, because knowledge and information is very fundamental within this report. And when the Americans received it, they immediately reacted to accepting that the Russians can play the game and negotiation can start. What we tell you is all recorded. the time of transmission, the government meetings, everything is recorded. The messages to the White House through the American embassy, ambassadors' offices, all recorded, and in the future will be released once the negotiations over. And you see how come every time this happened, we get this reaction. And it wasn't there. 15th of December, before we ran into a problem. Released that to IAEA. IAEA went to Iran to say Iran is not making nuclear because the hand of Israel was opened up, and how Trump played it. Actually, he trumped the Americans into 5+1 negotiation of today to go with Iran. In his stupidity, he brought a very positive move, which we see today. Now the cake is shared. Now we know Iran sells fuel. Now we know the Russians do their system. Now we know what the French are doing, and is in public, which up to now was hidden in the public domain. Now all nations will purify. The unit we send to NASA cannot fly if they don't purify to 100% plasma nuclear. Impossibilities. They land in the ocean and start flying if they get 99% correct. This is where the new knowledge, the new technology brings a change. And when we tell you, we go to the embassies, we get in touch with the world leaders, with the government officials, like organizations like IAEA, and we make that difference because what sits in these documents we deliver is game changer, because it's all facts. And this report, I'm sure one day will be released by KF or by Iranians or by the officials in the US, maybe by IAEA. But once we open this document at 10 o'clock last Friday in the Iranian embassy, within hours, the Iranian team, unknowingly to no one, left Vienna. And everybody wrote, negotiation came to a stop. You can see the reason of it is sitting in front of you. And we saw the same night the nest of what was destroying Iranians, and nuclear physicists and scientists in Israel was taken out. And this gives us a chance to peace, as I said to our negotiating team and to Keshe Foundation management. I think the best thing to do once we send the first unit to Tehran, to NASA and others, the very first unit has to be flown to Tel Aviv. In a way, we don't give you the tool of war, we give you a tool of peace. Let them to be ashamed of what they did, how they lied, and how that lying put so many lives in danger, so many people in what we call pain, and for what reason. I think Netanyahu has to be put in a solitary prison for the rest of his life. For the lie and the cheat he did to force the American Jewish lobby. With this, when it comes public, Jewish lobby in the United States will lose a lot of its power because they were known as cheaters, as liars, as enforcers of death. Because Jewish lobby in New York and in Washington pressurized the governments with their lies. Now the hand is open. We don't kill a bird, we feather it one by one, that it cannot fly and stays alive. We cannot do any more damage. The bird of death under the government of Israel, not under the nation of Israel. And this is important for all of us to know. I was in Istanbul and I met with the Iranian officials on Thursday, even during the teaching of last week. I fly to countries for a purpose in the background. We knew the position of the British when I was in London 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. We knew the position of the Russians in another dimension. We knew the position of the Iranian leadership in a very clear position in Istanbul. And I told you in the teaching of Thursday, I'll be meeting with Iranian officials very shortly, Iranian hours. And we did, and just check the news, is there. We arrived at 10 o'clock by the request of the Iranian officials. We were invited to the embassy, and by delivering the know-how because we saw the end of problems with not getting through. There was a big problem. Americans would not let the Russians to stay where they are, and we had to solve it. So we did. And 2 hours later, Iranian team left Vienna. And we saw step by step everything. American got the document. They knew how they've been cheated and fooled by the Israelis, and how Russia stood in supporting Iran was correct. The letter was given. They're back in. I always stood outside, and the Iranians would not accept Keshe Foundation to be in front outside because of what it is. But within Iran, we are doing beautiful jobs. The factories are getting set up. We thank the Office of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran and the Iranian president to allow the technology to grow very rapidly in Iran. Our factory is more or less going into production. They received the first export order in the last 48 hours, which is a massive order for them, and it allows them to start exporting Iran plasma technology outside the borders of Iran, with a full knowledge of the Americans and the Russians and the rest. We start playing the game, and Iran team can tell you they have issued the first massive invoice for export out of Tehran. At the back of it will come the space technology. We play the game of peace. The game of peace has to be that we stay fair and correct with everyone at the same time. What is in front of you has been a game changer, with IAEA accepting and flying back to Tehran to say they don't accept the lies of Israel anymore. The Iranians didn't know why IAEA changed position. And when they received this report, they jumped immediately, because Mr. Bagheri was sitting and waiting for the report. It was imminent. Iran will show a reaction. As I said to my communication with the White House, we were not expecting such a reaction for Iran to leave suddenly the negotiation. They went, they cleaned out the Israelis, and they went and they sorted out the negotiation with the Russians, and on the back of Keshe Foundation, put pressure, knowledge pressure, on the White House and the embassy in Vienna, with delivering direct materials and explanation. And it took less than a few hours for Washington to change position, because they knew now is a public knowledge, and we're given on the writing to the Americans that will never release this report unless they decide. And I've asked the same thing from the Iranian government. We play a direct game, and the time and the hours we tell you is there in this time. You all knew last Thursday teaching that we are about, and I said to you, listen to it. I'll be meeting with the Iranian officials on Friday, because it was time to deliver. We were convinced that the Iranians are not aware. Our intermediary in Tehran betrayed us. In a way, they thought maybe not to give it will be better, but we broke a lot of pain. But now we delivered directly into the hand of the Iranian leadership, and there was no way, because Mr. Bagheri is the son-in-law of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran. It was instantly in Tehran, and they knew what they've been treated for, and they gave the answer. And we've seen it. Peace talk will complete in the next few hours, a few days. It's just a little bit who takes more of what piece of the cake, and we're done. I thank the whole of the Iranian team, especially Yusuf and the rest, who facilitate these works for us, and how we see the next steps of growth. In China, the same, as we heard from Magnin, and the same in Arizona with John. Arizona will become the center of knowledge for North America, and we are prepared to invest in it. In a way, is thank you very much to the whole of knowledge seekers around the world. We start showing our work, and once we've seen the two different systems, NASA start working with us, the Russian Space Agency, the Chinese, we'll see the rapid embracing of the new understanding of the knowledge and technology. And this is all thanks to you as knowledge seekers, in developing, the sharing, and keeping the ethos of the Peace with the Keshe Foundation. Any other question?
Mr. Kesh, I was wondering how the plasma technology could tie into the current conflict in the Ukraine. We see the president of Ukraine just gave a speech both to the Canadian Parliament and the US Congress, and he got standing ovations in both accounts and promises of more weapons to be sent to that country for their so-called defense and so on. So the conflict could escalate more in that case. How can the plasma technology tie in to that area specifically? And is there any connection with the 5+1 as well with that?
No, this Ukraine situation is it's a isolated case, as we explained before, and not much we can do, because in the back of it, there's a lot of things settling the scores at the moment. We've seen there is no movement for attacks or war. It's a lot of rhetoric. And the plasma technology has to come through the essence we always worked. It's the job of the Universal Council, especially member for Russia and others, to elevate the soul of the leaders. There is a big problem. There is a very big problem. In the West, we get bombarded with the Western news the way they want us to see it. And in the other side, on the diplomatic side, there is more to it than what you see. I sometimes try to explain this to understand. First of all, the Ukrainian situation is between the Vatican and the Church of Russia. It started with that. And by West bringing new sanctions on Russia, it became a bit personal. When they froze and, in a way, locked down the private yacht of Putin, that was the last shot to Putin. So they went for him, and he took no mercy. But in the process, we have come to the point that now we know for a fact the Americans were doing exactly what they were doing in Japan. Americans in the Ukrainian nuclear reactors are developing nuclear weapons in the hand of the Ukrainians for the Americans to be a position on their doorstep. Now, from the nuclear side of technology, we know Americans have been very busy, naughty children, doing what they were doing in Fukushima. It led to the explosion of the Fukushima reactor because it was carrying plutonium than uranium. That was one of the main reasons Fukushima blew up. It couldn't hold because it had too much enriched material in it, which wasn't supposed to be there. And the Americans fooled the IAEA, or IAEA said, you do what you like, we don't know. The same position now we find in Ukraine. There is a nuclear weapon technology development in Ukraine, which is controlled by the Americans, using the old Russian reactors with the Russians built, and nobody could believe such a thing could take shape. So now we understand another stuff which is taking shape. Now we understand there is accusation of chemical centers, biochemical centers, again to be used because the Ukrainian leaders have been paid to do it in the doorsteps of the Russia. That if anything goes wrong, it's the Russians hit, not us. A lot of biological weapon technology is tested in North Korea, and now we know Ukraine has become another part of it, as the accusation lies war by the Russians against Americans. Because the Ukrainian leader is literally servant to White House. He'll come to your Senate and lick the God knows whatever to save his life. Now his hand is exposed. He has committed international crime by allowing the Americans to develop nuclear weapon at his doorstep. And I told you before, we knew some of this about 4 or 5 years ago. And Russians would not let this guy go by the look of it, because he has betrayed the motherland. We look at it from the Russian point of view, which you don't see in the West. Developing, allowing even testing or starting the test of nuclear weapon has brought 20-year sanction on Iran. How come Ukraine is allowed to do it hiddenly behind? How come Japan was allowed to do it behind the closed doors? Only Americans knew what they're doing. This is a part which brought again pressure on the Americans, and they know there's a lot of things behind it. We test it, it's on their ground. If it goes wrong, it's theirs with us. Israelis do a lot of human trials, paying the North Korean leader for biochemical tests, chemical warfare. Life has no value. We see now, if the accusations are correct by the Russians, they've been doing the same in ex-Eastern Bloc. How much Romania is involved in these things? How much do we have these centers of testing in Bulgaria and other places where the leaders are hungry for finances to help themselves and their nation, and accept any cruelty? Don't look what is pushed in the West. Look what is looked from the East too, and then somewhere in between, you see the truth. We still need to elevate the soul of the world leaders. They are the children of the Universal Council. Not for just this occasion, for the rest of the existence of both. You need to. These children of man are very weak, and they need the strength of the Universal Council soul to strengthen their soul. It's not just the Iranians 5+1, it's not just the Ukrainian, come a lot of other conditions. Inherently, the man relies on the soul of physicality and is weak. And inherently, soul of the man, the soul of the Universal Council, humanity is much bigger than this planet. To change that, bring that change. Don't look if a guy comes and they clap for him and give him a standing ovation. He has already received a bank account, checks in his bank for the nuclear weapon technology years ago. Now he's exposed. He's running for him not to be, or at least give me a home when I escape, when I sold my nation to weapon technology. There's a lot of things which you don't hear in the West, but Keshe Foundation has what I call a lot of connections in a lot of places, and we see a lot of the facts from that. And the accusation of weapon technology is in public. You got to realize Fukushima and Chernobyl are beautiful test grounds for what will happen to human beings and animals and plants. And usually the nations and the militaries don't go to see the benefit side, what can be done. They look what it can be worse and how they can use it to their benefit. And this is part of it. And now you see the guy coming and crying and going to Senate and going to Canadian Parliament. But that guy has a nightmare that has been discovered by the Russians. He sold the nation next door to them, part of the motherland, to weapon technology development against the motherland. Ukraine was not going to use it on Americans or Germans. So you go naughty, you pay for your naughtiness. This is a cry of a wolf, the way it's looked at in the East. We'll see more, we'll understand more, and we'll see this skirmishes. Now it's become settlement of the national security, the Church of Russia, and a lot of personal pride. A lot of personal pride. Any other question?
Okay, thank you for that background, Mr. Keshe. You see, we have Marinez with a hand up, but first we have a question in the Q&A from Brazil, from Marco. Hello, Mr. Kesh, Rick, and Seekers. Here in Brazil, we have some popular sayings that for many years the older people speak to the younger ones, such as, the head is not only to create hair. I guess that's what the older people say to the younger people. The head is not only to create hair. So the question is, what is the true function of hair? And why do we have a swirl of hair in the center of our head? Thanks and hugs from Brazil.
Yeah, we have a beautiful saying in Farsi. We say, when you look at that curl on the top of the head, you'll see how many of them do you have. And as a joke, we say, if you have one, it means you marry once. If you have 2 or 3 of them, you marry 2 or 3 times. So your soul already knows what you're up to. You need additional souls which will be added to. So it depends on which culture we look at the head. But there is a beautiful picture I received from Azar, I think, or one of the Iranian friends, that it shows a bunch of Iranian men sitting having a cup of tea with all the bald head, and it says, "Damn the shampoo in Iran," because it makes all the men bald. And you look to China, you hardly see bald Chinese; they all have full head of hair. It partially receives fields of the universe. It's a nanomaterial. It partially allows what we call the interaction of the fields, which is not absorbed by the body of the man, and those which not needed by the body man. The hair on the body creates a lot of, doesn't matter on your chest, on your back, on your leg, it creates a different reception of the fields. And there's a lot of research is done on this. If you go on the internet, the fact of emotion of whatever, the color of the hair, the length of the hair, and these kind of things. A lot of studies been done theoretically or as a joke or whatever, but essentially is another nanomaterial. Is essentially a way we dispose of some of the energies or gain some of our energies. And there is a very clear line between the races which have lost their hair and those who stay with the hair. There is a research somewhere that explains a lot of these things, and the studies been done. We receive fields according to what does happen with the curly hair and the one with the straight hair. The field interactions are different, creates different. Why the red hair have a specific behavior and the blondes have a different specific behavior. It's the way, it's not just something which grows out of us. It's something which what level of interaction we'll have with it. And we can touch it, we can change it. You can use different ganses and interact with the hair and change the color. And with the change of the color, you receive different feels, different emotions. Go back into Keshe Foundation in 2008, 9, something in that time. There was a knowledge seeker in Holland who had problems, and we developed technology for one thing, but it affected the hair. And the wife wrote every day, "Oh, my husband now has a full head of hair," and they all turned black. And he feels different, and she was so happy that he has his man back and all. We receive different fields according to the strength of our what we call amino acid, which is embedded in the glands of the hair. It has an effect. It has a purpose. And it's one of the ways we receive what we call energies, or we give up energies. It's something which once scientifically understood as a plasma, then we can trace it, we can see it. There is studies by the Russians in the magnetic field of open hair and spread hair years ago. And it gives you what auras they create, the same hair in a spreading different way. It has an effect on the emotion of the man. It has an effect on the structure of the thinking of the man. Any other question? Would you like to change your screen, Rick?
Okay. We have Marinez here. Marinez, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thanks, Rick. Hello, Mr. Cash. Hello, everybody. I'm always emotive when I talk to you. In advance, Happy New Year, New Nowruz, which is the equinox of spring, when the whole thing is coming out of the earth and a new life is coming out. And so everybody changes the old things and cleans up completely the house and ready to receive and going and making peace with everybody around, and kisses and sweets. And I wish the same thing, honestly, from my heart, for the whole people, because under the cover, we all love each other. Under the education, the differences, we all miss each other's when we don't see them, and we are happy to see them. So we are all of the same grain, humanity. By the way, tonight is the night of anniversary of Mahdi in Iran. And that's gonna be a real lighting light tomorrow in Iran. And people are happy. And tonight, a lot of people don't sleep, and all the night, humbly, they ask for peace and coming of Mehdi. A lot of educated university young people, which are a lot of young people in Iran, very kind and emotional. I think my question was, when you say if we try to be good and then become like sun, honestly, it doesn't attract me, because I don't, I protect myself from the hot sun. And so what? Because in Earth, we have at least some little minorities which are so emotional. For example, these young people who do this praying tonight, that is just bringing tears to my eyes. Their generosity, like they have a system these days from last year that everybody does something good freely for somebody or people, and they put it on their account for Mehdi. For example, even though they don't have money, they go to their oldest school and they teach freely, or they pay the taxi driver the rest of the change to give a ride freely to the.
I don't understand what you're trying to explain us.
So I'm saying that in the Earth, we have emotional people or a relation that can give us the ties that this Earth is beautiful. But if I become a sun, is there a guarantee that over there I can find people to relate my emotions to and feel the
What do you
same.
mean? When does your soul become the center of the sun?
Yeah, but my soul doesn't feel the same love and emotions in here, which is
The fact is, are you connected to your soul?
yes,
You think so?
yes.
So if you live in that level, you understand as you consider yourself as a giver of the sun. You don't need to feel it. Once you're in it, you don't see it. And if that's the way you think that you do, then it's your responsibility to understand the work of your soul the same way. You don't need to speak to do. And if you think you leave that level, you don't feel a sun, but you feel you understand your soul, and the way you always speak is that you're there to give and everything and whatever the other people. So you have to understand how much you think what is strong and what is strength of the sun you have created. This is what I say for the Universal Council members, that they'll be recognized by the light of the strength of the light that they're giving, the devotion to serve and change humanity. You don't need to see it. You don't need to, you feel it by the soul.
Yeah,
So if you feel you don't feel the sun, because it's you how you interpret the sun. And you
there's
don't need to
nobody
write your good thing. Yeah, there is no need to write down or do a charity work to be an account. When you count the wealth, you're not wealthy. And I always said that. When you count, I did such a good thing, I got taught, you haven't done, because you counted, I do to get. Everybody, when I was in business, asked me, how much do you worth? I said, I don't know, because when I count, I'm not worth it. I never sat down and count money to see what I worth. I knew what my target was, to be able to do more, but never count how much I'm worth and what is the wealth. Because when you count it, you're not worth it. Doesn't matter how many zeros you put in front of it. If you count, I'm going to do a good thing and I write it as the good thing, you haven't done a good thing. You just done something to get something. You haven't added to somebody else's or elevation of the soul or to be able to see. You do your job without counting, but you hope the result is there to create a position and dimension, a new dimension. I hear this is very traditional. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm doing a walk for, what do you call it, Fatima, and they go the whole length of Spain from one side to another. What for? Or they go to mountains of Kathmandu and other places to walk. What for? What good do you do? Or is it for you to think, when you count it, you don't have it, you already lost it. And this is something which you do not need to measure what son am I going to be. Your job is to serve. Then the light will show itself.
Okay, I changed my direction. So another question you said about, I hope
You
I don't
understand
take
before
too
you
much.
change. Have you
I
understood before you
understood.
change? Yeah.
I understood. So it's another looking at the things you taught me, you taught us. Another aspect of things, which is, I got it. If it doesn't take, yeah. And it just, we have very little point of view regarding things comparing to you. We just look
I know a little. And I share that little.
thousands of years, okay. And you said something about, I read something in very rapidly, I think about judgment you had written. No judgment, right? I read it in Brazilian, and there was a paper. I thought it was a judgment, non-judgment, not to judge.
You don't judge, you do your best, and then you see, because once you judge is something. When we judge, we have to make a decision. When you make a decision, that's what you'll react to. And that reaction brings elevation of the soul, or taking something from somewhere, or doing something with it. I don't judge. Even in the recent past, I don't judge. I put things in the order. And very interesting, we've seen even in the past 2 or 3 weeks, everybody was accused of what you call lying, and everybody would lie. And when it came to the time, the truth broke the lie. And I didn't need to judge. I just put a fact to be, and didn't try to taint it or change it, that because I could change a position of judgment. Everybody was accused of lying to change a judgment. And when it came to the judge, to the day of judgment, the truth was more powerful than the lies which was created to create lies. Because he spoke its truth. And there was nothing anybody can say about the truth. So I didn't need to judge. I put what was the fact, and the judgment comes by itself. And the person had to judge himself, nobody else. So don't make a judgment. I make a lot of decisions, like all of us. We do a decision. You might call it a judgment. We make a decision according to what is in our hand. And we decide what to do. Do you call it a judgment, or do you call it a condition of the position and decision making? We can judge about our own behavior. We can judge about our own conduct. And then judge why we did it. What was the outcome? And was it to serve the good or better? Or was it to serve me? Or was it for me to be able to elevate the others? We can judge about ourselves and nobody else. And this process of what you call judgment happens in the field of the plasma. I want to be here. Does anybody accept me? And when you accept, where is my position? Because I'm here to give to everyone.
Yeah, sometimes the intention is to serve, but it ends up it ends up with
The wrong way.
the wrong way.
Yeah, but you don't know. The thing is, if the intention is to serve and you turn up the wrong way, sit back and see where it comes out. And if the decision was to serve for the better, you will see it coming up the way you planned it, or was the best for everyone. Short term might look, long term might be very different.
Fantastic, exactly.
You understand? We are humans. We always look at the immediate that confronts our work. The farmer seeds the soul of a grain into the land. He never knows if he'll be alive to sow the seed. But he does it out of the willingness to be able to live, to serve his soul by living and the others. We have to be that farmer. When the farmer sows the seed in spring, He doesn't know he's going to be alive in autumn to collect it, but he still does because it'll benefit his family and the others with that seed. And this is how the man's life should be. You're that farmer. Never expect, just be there that in the future. It might brings me benefit, but in general, in principle, it's for the other souls to live off it because I don't eat all of it. I said, even though it means bringing me income, but elevating the others. And we are the farmers of the soul to serve. And that's all the human race should be, as is for the others in the universe.
Yeah, there's
Thank you very much.
some people, just another thing, cultural thing. Some people, they say in the Quran says you encourage people to do good things and tell them it's bad when they're doing things, and that causes people to interfere to what others.
Believe that part out because that part of Quran had a meaning totally different. It's interpreted the wrong way.
I think it's like that because that causes problem of interfering.
Thank you very much, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
you.
Sir. Good luck
Thank you
and
very
good
much.
health and good mirrors.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
I think we're wearing you down here, Mr. Kesh, finally, perhaps.
Oh, I've been here thousands of years. It's nothing. We got a lot to go. Yet.
Yes, indeed.
Any other question?
Well, there are a couple of remaining questions, I suppose, here. Maybe we can get one or two in. There's one from Jared. Let me just get back here. Oh, yes, Jared asks, he likes to know how to treat like and dislike and love and hate equally without discrimination. And I think you're actually answering it. I think you answered this question with what you were just talking about. He liked to, I think he said it again here. Let me rephrase it. How to treat like and dislike and love and hate equally without discrimination.
I think we gave that answer just now in a different context.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, what else?
Okay, we have a question here from Antonio in the Q&A. Mr. Kesh, is the essence of the body of the man in reversed absorbed by the plants and animals as the orange is absorbed in the cup? And is this the meaning that everything is connected because the fields are interacting all the time within all life?
Yes, in a way, yes. Of course. The blanket, the pillow, the cat, the dog, the fish, the grass takes what we don't want, because it's very simple. We call it aura. Aura has to be a field which interacts with somebody, goes somewhere. So, of course, we have classified it, but we don't connect it. Now we know what it is. We receive the same. We receive from, what do you call it, the emotion, the feeling, the environment, the trees and the plants and the dog.
So Dan had a question that I don't think it was related to Antonio, but it is in a way. It says simply, if everything is put in front of us, why don't we see and understand?
Because we are ignorant. we ignore what we don't like. I call it ignorance, is part of it.
Yes.
In the English
exactly.
language, yeah. We ignore what doesn't suit us. And we see what we want to see. And that's all. We don't want to accept certain things, and we want to accept what suits us. And we are all under the same banner. being a human, being an animal, being a prophet, being a creator. Whatever we create, what we do is to the same condition. We are not exception. Once we understand we are not exception, then we move into the other level of understanding. As said before, they say, oh, Mr. Keshe, why do you break a leg or whatever? You can do this, what have you done that? Just we have in a dimension of physicality part of the same. There is no exception. We go through the same. We learn the same, and from it, we learn what needs to be done.
Okay, well, let's take that idea and just, I'm trying to extend things a little bit here, Mr. Keshe, for Dan's other question here. When the peace treaty is it signed individually or through a soul? Is it valid for a whole nation?
Yep.
What happens when you don't keep that peace treaty?
You see what happened to Trump. Exactly. He created even no peace in his own nation, and it is not there. The peace treaty has to be with the soul of the man and totality, not with individuality and the purpose. The present peace talks doesn't matter about Ukraine, about the 5+1, about other points and positions. Is very simple. Has and will affect the whole of the nation and many others. We were driving yesterday in Vienna and we saw a dirty, dusted car, Ukrainian number plate. And deep inside me, I hope that this will be short-term suffering and this car goes back, because it was obvious it's driven all the way non-stop to be somewhere, to escape from what is happening. In the border of Austria, Romania, and all this, we see this emotion of people worried about this, what is happening. And is to understand it. I know the feeling because I've been through it. I know what it means to have everything and next day not to have. When we went to the Iranian Revolution, I was a student in university. And I know if we don't open the door back open, these people will be suffering and changes for a lifetime. Because I've been there. It's not that you hear 1 million, 2 million displaced. Some of these people will have no home to go back to because it's destroyed. Or some of these people will never go back because they don't feel that security. And then learning a new language, learning a new way to live, and all the things at the moment is a hot cake. A lot of people talk. 6 months down the line, nobody remembers the Ukrainian. They become another bunch of refugees. And a life process of pain, change. And that's why we come, we experience it, and then we understand it, how it has to be done. There shall be no more refugees because the man looks after each other beautifully from the new technology from now. I know it because I went through it. Why do we need to go through it? Because then you understand the emotion of the man, what is done, needs to be done to change that emotion. As I said, the same. In 1979, the summer of 1979, Iranians, if somebody had an Iranian friend, that was gold. You know, everybody wanted to be your friend. In what you call March, April of the same 1980, the following time, even at the beginning of January was the same. And then after the revolution, we all became terrorists and the rest. And we went through that cycle of revolution and victimization and everything else. And it changes the life. And it is part of it. We have to experience it to understand what it means, what's going to happen to you, not when you become all the refugees in the space, as your homeland called Earth is not there to support you anymore. So you need to go through the emotion to understand it and to be able to translate it, and there is no exception. Shall we call it a day?
Yes, you've said that several times. I'm just trying to squeeze in one last question, maybe give a quick answer
The last
from Paulo, because he asked this a couple of weeks now, and I'd just like to say it. So, Mr. Keshe, is our soul more like a particle or a wave?
Soul is a magnetic field. You decide when it'll behave like a particle and when it'll be a wave.
And he says, does the wave generate the particle, or does the particle generate the wave?
Did the egg come or the chicken?
I knew you were going to say that.
As
Thank you.
simple as that. The rays of the sun come emanated from the soul of the creator. Then if you ask if the particle came or ray first, you have to ask the existence and confirmation of the creator. Is he an entity or is he unconditional field? And I think most of us know the answer. Thank you very much indeed for today. We'll come back next week and maybe we'll celebrate more good news from every angle. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you for
foundation in the background.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, and thank you for persevering for a few extra questions there for people.
I persevered for thousands of years.
You have the ultimate patience. I don't know how you do it sometimes.
It happens.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Okay, bye for now. Okay, and thank you everybody for attending today's 424th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, March 17th, 2022. You see the next public workshop coming up will be Tuesday, March 22nd, which will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European Time. People are welcome to join the Universal Council in that meeting. And I think that's it for now. Thanks, everyone. See you next time around. I'll play the musical version of the Spaceship Unit to go out with here.